And we're back once again to review even though we literally just did this, Allie, we're here for another episode of A Conversation with Kely. Very special episode because this is episode 69, everyone. This is the... we really need to like hammer that home that this is episode also, 69.
The funny part is that Valentine's Day is next week too.
That's true. That's true. Anyway, before this goes off the rails anymore, we are here to talk about the latest week of Celebrity Big Brother 3. This is episodes 4 and 5. And I think at this point, Allie, we can kind of say this season is not delivering as much as we were hoping. Terms of...
I will say it's not bad. Like, it's just not going the way we want per se. I mean, honestly, like I was fine with the first boot. Like, I mean, yeah, it sucks it was a girl, but I wasn't really a big Teddi fan, but she definitely was good.
No, I wasn't either. But I do think Teddi is someone that like could have been like a real force.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It would have been different. It would have been like a whole different game if she won the HOH.
Yeah, I think so for sure. I mean, I will say this.
I will say it is a very entertaining season.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely entertaining. I think it's still a really fun cast, but something about these, like, second week eliminations in Celebrity Big Brother, they always suck. Like, every time they have sucked. The first time we had, like, Keisha quitting, and that, like, we were supposed to have, like, a really spicy elimination with, like, Shannon getting backdoored, and that didn't happen. Yeah. And then Celebrity Big Brother 2, I remember there was, like, supposed to be, like, some sort of backdoor. I think it was going to be, like Lolo or Tamar or something crazy like that. And then just Ryan ended up leaving and it wasn't particularly exciting.
Agreed.
And unfortunately it was the exact same thing this time around. This was not a very exciting week, I think, at all. I feel like what we didn't want to happen is what happened. And I just really hope that this is not setting the trajectory for the rest of the season. Cause like there are some legitimately very very entertaining people here. I just want them to stay because there are also people that I'm not really liking that much. And we'll get into that. But overall, what did you think of this week? Cause like, I'll be honest, I wasn't really a fan.
I wasn't a fan either. Well, we'll obviously get into the elimination soon.
Yeah.
But I will say, very disappointing week.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess we'll just jump into it. We're only talking about Sunday and Monday, so this is not going to be nearly as long, I think, as our last one because they're only 40-minute episodes. But basically, we see after the results of the last eviction, Mirai is very happy to have survived. Kattan, meanwhile, is so confused as to what even happened. And I'll say right now, Kattan is like the perfect character where it's like he's clueless, but he's like okay with it. Like he's completely content with the fact that he is clueless. He has said multiple times in the house that like he doesn't really like to strategize. That's not really his thing. He's just kind of here to have a good time. And he's playing the way that I kind of expected him to, where he wasn't really going to do all that much, but it's surprisingly like entertaining to watch. Like I'm enjoying Kattan on the show. That being said, I don't think he should still be here after, what was said at the end of this, but I'm really enjoying him as a character. And the more we get of him, I think the more entertaining he's going to be.
Yeah, I definitely really like him as a person. He's just not the best game player.
He's not really playing the game, so I don't even think we can say he's like a good game player because he's not really playing. He's kind of just like there for the laughs. But so Carson then talks about how there are now only 3 remaining members of Formation, which is not shocking in any way, shape, or form. I think we all expected it. But Formation still being, breaking up as quickly as they did is not a shock to anyone. I mean, I literally said the second that it was formed, like this alliance is going to crumble. And would you
wasn't going to last.
Yeah, who would have thunk it? It's already crumbling, and we very much do see that here. And he feels that their only real target at this point is Miesha. Cynthia is also very annoyed that people did not stick true to their word and didn't vote for Teddi. Carson feels that this could just potentially be the end for Formation. And that's definitely the case here. Formation is not really discussed very much at all after this. But I do want to focus on someone I'm really liking in this game. Again, I want to talk about Shanna, how great of a game I think she is playing right now. Really is playing all sides. And yes, she does something that's kind of boring this week. But I think overall, like, she's playing just a really
no, I feel like the reason why she doesn't do this move is because she doesn't want to show her cards.
Yeah, no, I think because of the way that Shane is
Which
playing.
Is understandable.
It kind of
obviously it wasn't. It kind of sucked, but I mean, it's a good move for her.
Yeah, I always say this. Sometimes, like, the best move is the boring move, and like it sucks to watch as an audience. But considering the way that Shane is playing right now, I feel like she has to be really careful with what she's doing because she is very much playing both sides. From what I can tell, like, nobody wants to target Shayna. Like, nobody really is planning to put her up at this point. And I hope she's just able to continue doing what she's doing because I really do think she's in a really good spot to at least get to the end.
Oh, I knew she was going to be like the dark horse.
Yeah, I think she definitely is at least going to get to the finale at this point with the way that she's playing, but we'll have to see. I've been wrong before. So, but basically she explains why she voted for Teddi to go and feels that they just didn't have the numbers to keep her, which I think is like a really good cover up. Obviously that's not the reason, but I think that, you know, Cynthia is pretty much convinced after that that's the reason why. It's working out for her, but we see Carson's feeling very nervous for him and Cynthia since they were on the wrong side of the votes. And I love these two, like, straight up. I think they're such a strong duo. But what sucks is that they're not really in the majority of the house right now. And it's really annoying because, like, I feel like Carson is the kind of person that, like, usually gets far in the game. For some reason, he's just not the one that's, like, in the, you know, dominant side of the house. And it kind of sucks because, like, I don't want to see Carson go. I want to see Carson get far in this game. I've heard people say that, like, Carson is going to be Carson's going to make up for, like, Ross Matthews not winning the game. And I was fully buying that narrative. But the way that Carson is not really, like, you know, fully in like the majority right now, I don't know how far Carson's going to get at this point. I feel like Cynthia is probably going to get farther than him. But right now, I just don't really know what Carson's chances are in this game. But I'm really loving what we're getting from him. It's just, again, I'm worried this is one of those casts where, like, all the people we like are going to go early. And I hope that's not the case.
Exactly. We'll see.
So, yeah.
Actually, I mean, Miesha is definitely very much targeting Carson.
Yeah, we'll get into that. But
Cynthia, I feel like, is in a good position at the moment.
I think Cynthia definitely is, like, somewhat adjustable. I just feel like she could also go at the expense of Carson. So I'm just kind of worried, like, you know.
Because honestly, at the moment, I can possibly see the final two being Shayna and Cynthia.
Yeah, I could see that too. I think that's a very likely scenario. But Shayna talks to Miesha and Chip Skylark, who you're going to hear me say his name a lot because he's very relevant in this week. Brings up that she's worried about Cynthia now because of her going against her alliance. And Chip Skylark then talks about how much he trusts Shayna and that she approached him from day one to make a deal. And the two of them have basically been drawn together from the jump. And here's the thing. I don't really think this is that good of, like, a duo for Chip Skylark. I do think this is really good for Shayna.
Yes.
Because I don't think he makes the right decision here at all this week. I think he's very much working with the wrong people, and I'll get more into that in a little bit. But Todrick explained to Cynthia why he voted the way that he did, admits that he didn't really want to work with Teddi, and he feels that lines have been drawn and that this HOH has become of utmost importance for the rest of the season. I did not think this was a good explanation from him. Like, I don't think Cynthia bought it in the slightest. I feel like he's making it super obvious who he's working with, and I think the only reason that Todrick is going to continue surviving is just because of who's in power. Like, I think if, like, Carson or Cynthia or any of them win HOH, like, Todrick's definitely going on the block. But unfortunately, you know, he keeps kind of sliding by at this point. But Cynthia doesn't really feel like she can trust him anymore after this. So not a very good conversation with him at all. But anyway, let's get to the HOH comp.
All right. It's time for the next HOH comp of the season. Each of the house guests are given a ball and have to try to get the highest score possible on each potato. And with the highest score of 75, Chip Skylark or Chris Kirkpatrick, with the help of his shiny brain clench.
Yes. You read that part.
He clenches this HOH.
Now, I will be honest with y'all. At this point of the show, after I wrote that note, I literally paused the episode and just watched Chip Skylark's songs because I just needed to reminisce a bit. I needed to listen to him sing about his shiny teeth. How did you feel about good old Chip Skylark winning this HOH?
I mean, it's not the worst, but no. I mean, he's not my favorite, obviously, in the house, but I don't dislike him or anything.
Yeah.
His game is like iffy. Like he's good, but he's just kind of in the middle for me. So I'm just like, as long as he makes the right move, then, but which we'll get into later, but.
Yeah, my thing is like initially when he won, I was like, oh, this is really interesting. He's kind of a wild card. I don't really know what he's going to do. And he definitely does do like his own thing. Like he definitely does his own thing this week. I just don't think he's a particularly interesting player to watch. Like generally he's not the kind of player that I enjoy watching. I don't think he's really doing anything particularly exciting. I don't think he has a bad HOH week. Like I really think this is a kind of a solid HOH week for him, but he doesn't really do anything where it's like, this was a really like outstanding HOH week. It was just, it's mid. That's the best way to describe it. It's mid. So yeah, that's kind of how I feel about his HOH reign.
Yeah. Carson feels good with Chris, but he's pretty sure he's working with Miesha, which could be bad for him. And Shanna feels good with him as well.
Yeah.
Miesha says this is perfect for her, considering he is in her alliance, and she'd like to think she has some influence over who will go up on the block.
And can I just say, I'm sure that there's been other people, but like Miesha is one of the worst confessionalists I've ever seen in this show.
Yeah.
She is so dead in the face with everything she says. There's no personality on her face whatsoever. Everything she says it exactly like this. She's dead in the face.
Emotion. She has like no emotion.
Yeah, it's just, it's not good. It's not good at all. Miesha is not in any way good to me.
I will say that Miesha is very cocky because like she's trying to
I agree.
She's literally trying to control everything.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of how she's playing. I feel like she's someone who like she wants everything to get done exactly the way that she wants. And if it doesn't, she gets mad. I can't stand players like that. I can't. It's like you need to recognize that like not everything is going to go your way. And you have to be okay with that.
There's good cocky and there's bad cocky. Like
exactly.
She's like the bad cocky.
Yeah, and I think the biggest issue with Miesha right now is that
it's good to be confident, but not too cocky.
Yeah, she wants to be so dominant. Like she wants to control everything. She wants to be on the right side of every vote. And like conversely, you look at someone like Shanna, who is playing like all sides, but she also recognizes that sometimes she has to cut her losses, unfortunately. Like if she wants to keep someone around, she might not have the votes to keep them around. I don't think Miesha's really figured that out yet, because especially the way she acts this week, I'm not a fan of the way she's playing. I'm sure she's a wonderful person, but I'm not a fan of the way she's playing very much at all.
Yeah, I'm very iffy with her game.
Yeah.
Lamar talks to Chris, and he seems unsure how to feel about him winning the HOH, aside from him just being cool.
One of the best lines of the episode. Just, how do I feel about Chip Skylark winning? He's cool.
Lamar is so funny.
I love Lamar so much. He's like, he has so few words, but everything he says is just gold. Like generally, everything is just gold. Like if he was in an org, like he'd be getting all the episode quotes.
Oh yeah. Sometimes like the simplest things are the funniest.
Oh yeah, I agree. Lamar definitely gets that.
Oh yeah. Chris then talks a bit more about his plan. He's good with Miesha, Shanna, and Todrick, and he feels good with Cynthia and Carson. And the only person left he isn't good with is Mirai, and he also sees her as a big comp threat.
So I'm of two minds about this.
Mirai can't catch a break.
No, anyways, but I will say I'm of two minds about this target. I understand if it's like Mirai's the only person I haven't worked with. Like, that makes sense. He's not allied with her. They haven't had too many conversations. Like, that part I get. But him talking about how she's a comp threat, I'm like, she hasn't even won a comp. Like, she's come close, but like, she hasn't even won. I don't know why people see her as like this comp threat. Like, Miesha should be the comp threat right now. Like, why is Mirai being perceived in this way? I just didn't understand that at all. So I didn't really get that part of it, but the part of it where he says I'm not working with her, that's fine for me. I just don't understand that second half very much at all.
Either.
And I think it's also because like it's part of a larger thing that we still have not seen and we're not going to see. And I feel like there's other reasons why he put her up based on like how uncomfortable that she was around, how uncomfortable that she felt he was around her and things like that. And, he kind of feels like scared by her in a way. Like, I'm not really sure. I have no way of confirming any of that, but like, I feel like there's more to this than just, oh, I haven't talked to her. At least it felt that way to me. It very much felt that way to me. Like, there was no other option for him but Mirai this entire week.
Ugh, I hate it. Mirai feels Carson needs to be the target this week, along with Mirai.
Oh, that's supposed to say Miesha. I'm stupid.
Oh, okay. Miesha feels Carson needs to be the target this week, along with Mirai. And if one of them gets out to put Cynthia up. Chris is annoyed. She is very much trying to run his HOH, as she should.
Yeah, and this is what I'm talking about. I feel like his fatal flaw this entire week is that he did not recognize Miesha is not good for his game, like in any way. Miesha's someone he needs to distance himself from because all she wants to do is dictate people's HOHs. And I think he very much should have thought about potentially backdooring her this week because I think early on, especially, you can already see that like she wants to be dominant.
Apparently, but he wants to go for Todrick.
Yeah, which we'll get into. But I don't think working with Miesha, like I think he needs to just like cut her entirely because she is not like I get it, he vibes with her, but the way she's playing is not gonna work for him, I think, very much at all. It doesn't really benefit many people in this house, maybe except for Todrick, but that's about it.
Todrick distance from her.
Like no, I think Todrick has made the right call in working with her because she's a good shield for him.
Well, yeah, that's true.
I just don't like the way Todrick's playing.
Yeah. I know. Ugh. He goes to Shanna and tells her what Miesha just did really scares him. And Shanna talks about how she feels she's running the house. And he says, instead of Mirai going, he kind of wants to put up Todrick, especially since he won't be able to control the vote in any way. And they very much have options for what they want to do.
Yeah, and this was smart. This was definitely smart that like he wanted to put up Todrick. I just wish he stuck with it. But
Ugh. He talks to Carson and Cynthia, and he says he isn't gunning for anyone, and he isn't letting anyone influence his game this week. He assures them they aren't his targets, and he feels good with both of them.
I think this was a really good conversation when it came to Lamar and Todd. These are two people who are not really seen as threats in the house. Todd isn't doing much, and I think that's good that Todd's in that position right now, but I don't really know how far Todd is getting at this point, but I definitely got the sense that these are both people that are kind of just willing to just vote with anyone. They're very open in that way. They don't really have too many connections, and I think this was he did the right thing in talking to them and not doing what Miesha did and being like, hey, I'm good with you, but I also want you to be a pawn. I like that he recognized that oh, they're voting with me, I don't need to make them a pawn. That was good. That was a good moment for him, I think.
Oh yeah. We then get a humorous montage of Chris Kattan eating a bunch of cake, which ends. This has literally become a meme right now.
Oh, it's hilarious. God. I simultaneously loved but also hated this, and if you know, you know. That's all I'll say. If you know why I hated this, but at the same time, it was really funny to watch.
Well, our friends made it a big meme too.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm referencing. But yeah, I think on its own, this was a really fun segment. If we can just keep getting stuff like this with Kattan, I'll be all for it. I think, like I said, he has admitted he doesn't really care about the strategy aspect of the game. He's much more just there for like the laughs, and I'm here for it. Like, I'm here for it. If he's just gonna be just like a fun character, that's fine with me. You know, that's I don't have an issue with that. So I enjoyed this a lot. I thought this was really fun to watch. I thought this was a really fun segment.
Yeah, I agree. Chris asked Lamar and Todd how they feel about Mirai going up, and they seem okay with it. And he then asks if either of them should be put up, and Todd tells him he'd be willing to vote however he's willing to, which makes him realize he shouldn't put up either of them. Honestly, Todd's kind of just there as well.
Yeah, definitely. He's not doing much.
He's doing okay, but like he's just kind of boring.
Yeah, definitely. I don't see him getting, honestly, I see him getting far, but I also don't know if I see him getting far. Like, I can see Todd going one of two ways, where either he gets super far because he's not doing much and people don't perceive him as a threat, or he goes early because he's expendable. I don't know which it's going to be at this point.
Right now, I see him getting like fourth.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, because besides Chris Kattan, which they have not shown on the show, Chris Kattan has like this very one-sided like dislike for Todd. I don't know where it came from, but like he does not like him at all. He wants Todd out.
It's interesting.
Yeah, they haven't shown anything to do with that, but like besides Chris Kattan, he's not really like annoying anyone. He's not really on anyone's radar, so I think that's good for Todd. But at the same time, like I need to see him do more, because right now I'm just kind of bored by him.
Oh yeah, for sure. He talks to Miesha and says he doesn't plan to backdoor anyone and wants to give Mirai a fighting chance. And Miesha
because that's what we're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm. And Miesha, of course, brings up Carson and how big of a threat he is. And Chris says that he feels he's as big of a threat as her, but she warms him as the game goes on. It becomes more social than physical, which is something Carson excels at. If Mirai comes down, he should just put him up. And he feels there isn't really anyone else to go after over there and doesn't see him as that much of a threat.
Yeah, so this is how I feel about this. The one thing I will agree with Miesha is that the game does become more social. She is correct in saying that. But what she doesn't understand is that, Chip Skylark doesn't want to put him up. It's that simple. Like, if he doesn't have the desire to put him up, just accept it. Just accept it's not going to happen. I don't understand why she kept trying so hard to gun for Carson. You can gun for Carson on your HOH with spoilers. That's exactly what she's doing, because she's HOH now. Oh God, I spoiled it. But anyway, But no, besides the point, I just think Miesha just needed to recognize that, this is not at all his plan. He wasn't going to deviate from it, and she needed to just recognize that. And for some reason, she didn't. And again, I think it really is going to hurt her in the end, because I think the way that she's playing, it's not good. It's not good at all. I do not like the way Miesha's playing. I think, hands down for me, I think she's probably the worst player in the game right now.
Yeah. Pretty much. She's really bad.
Yeah. I even think Todrick is a little bit better than her, because at least Todrick, he is somewhat adaptable. Miesha's not in any way.
Oh, yeah.
I do not see Miesha as adaptable.
Also, Shanna called her an asshole.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So she's not exactly on people's good side.
No. At the nomination ceremony, Chris slightly changes things up and nominates Mirai, but puts Chris Kattan next to her.
This came out of nowhere. We had no explanation for why he put up Kattan, but Kattan also just can't catch a break in this game.
That's true.
Not very good at all. Those were the nominations. We're going to get into Monday's episode, which, my God, was this a disappointment. I was really hoping that we get some sort of change here. We get something exciting, and we got probably the most predictable outcome we could have gotten here, where we see Chip Skylark. He talks about how he's worried that Mirai could get into Miesha's ear, considering how easily she avoided eviction last week. And Mirai, meanwhile, is very disappointed to be on the block, but she wants to fight as hard as she really can. And Miesha feels that Skylark isn't just listening to what she wants, but she can still get her way by the end of the week. And I'm like, how? Like, how are you going to make this happen? Like, he's not going to do what you want. Just accept it. I don't understand it. I don't understand anything she's doing.
Very annoying.
Yeah, I'm not going to keep harping on it too much because I'm just going to keep repeating myself, but very bad, very bad. Carson talks to Kattan and tells him to not worry about anything because of how beloved he is, and Kattan feels he hasn't really done anything or talked game with people, so he doesn't deem himself as a threat. And my God, Chris Kattan, like, I feel bad for him. I do. Because, like, I think, like I said, he doesn't care about that strategical aspect of the game, but he doesn't realize that, like, he kind of needs to, because he's going to be seen as expendable to a lot of people, and he isn't really making, like, a lot of connections. But I do think Carson is someone that could potentially protect him for a few rounds, but I see Kattan going soon. I do. I see him going very soon, because I just don't think he's adjustable. Like, he reminds me of, like, Joey Lawrence and, like, Slayer Big Brother 2, or, like, he's just not really doing much. And, like, Joey Lawrence, at least when he was on the block, finally started to be strategic. Kattan so far has not made any real effort to do that. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not really, again, he's very fun to watch, but strategic wise, not there at all. Really not playing the game.
He'll probably leave either this week or, like, next week.
Yeah, it's definitely going to happen. But Cynthia is glad that she and Carson have avoided the block, but is worried that one of them could potentially be a replacement. And Shanna, meanwhile, feels that Mirai is Miesha's minion, and that she would take her off the block if she were to win veto, which would be the worst case scenario. This is not a bad read, like, at all, because, she knows that Mirai was Miesha's target and then suddenly wasn't anymore. I thought this was a really smart play by Shanna, and I think is a big reason why she doesn't do what we thought she was going to do. I think this is a big reason as to why, is because she kind of recognized Mirai needed to go here. Like, as much as it sucks for Mirai to go, for Shayna's game, it makes sense for Mirai to go.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, again, I think it's these little subtle things that Shane is doing early on that I think is really going to put her in, like, a good position in this game. But we'll have to see, of course. But right now, like, I'm very impressed by what I'm seeing from her. Mirai tells Todrick that she's very loyal and wants to fight for them. And this is actually a pretty good conversation with Todrick. He says that he hopes that she can stick around and that she can step it up and win the veto. And again, this is where I think Todrick is actually somewhat excelling, is that he is willing to
I like that.
Open things up a bit more. He recognizes, I think, that he was clocked. He recognizes that a lot of people know about his connection with Miesha. So he is trying to branch off and make other connections. I don't think they're solid enough to where he's going to go that far in this game. But I think at least, the difference between him and Miesha is that he's at least trying to, like, adapt. I don't see Miesha doing that at all here. So again, I hate to keep ranting about Miesha, but just, my God, she's frustrating me. So Shayna and Chip Skylark look through all the house guests. I thought this was a really good scene. Like, they're literally on surveillance and looking through each of them. But basically, she talks about how Miesha feels that she's running the house and she has Todrick and Mirai at her beck and call, and that they have a chance to get one of them out. And again, even if this isn't true, like, this is a good pitch. Like, it's not necessarily what's actually going on, but, like, this is a really good pitch from Shayna. And I think that she did a really good job with that. I would argue that Shayna is very much the one in Chip Skylark's ear this week. Like, yeah, it's his HOH, but Shayna did a lot of the work in terms of, like, what they need to do. But basically, if Mirai is gone, that would be amazing for them. And if she doesn't go, her circle will just continue to grow, which they likely will not be a part of. So Lamar then talks to Todd and Cynthia and this was a really heartbreaking scene, I think, for Lamar, but I think a really good scene too. Like, I like stuff like this when we get to see a little bit more of, like, their personal lives. And we talk about how he had a dream about his son who passed away from SIDS at 6 months old. And he feels that he had a really great relation because whenever he came into the room, his eyes lit up and that he would have been 15 by now, but him coming to him in the dream shows he isn't far away. And Todd feels for him because of how much he has dealt with. And though he doesn't show it, it's clear he's going through a lot. Just really touching scene, I think, from Lamar overall.
That part made me so emotional and like it was just very heart-wrenching.
Yeah, I really liked this a lot. I like when we're able to dive deeper into the celebrities because we forget the fact that like these celebrities are people, and I think stuff like this is like very important. And I think this was a really good moment for Lamar overall.
For sure.
So Miesha is rooting hard for Mirai to win this veto again because she wants to get Carson back to her. Oh my God, I'm so shocked. She's still steadfast on this, and that isn't going to happen. But Chip Skylark feels that this isn't a strong pitch since Carson has really only done well on one comp. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, it makes sense. Now, Todrick feels that he's getting a little too temperamental when Miesha and he are simply suggesting what to do, but he remains firm this is his game and not theirs. And I don't know why Todrick felt like he needed to defend Miesha here. Like, she's very much being out of line. It's his HOH. Like, I didn't really understand why Todrick needed to step in. I guess he just felt that he needed to because he needed to prove his loyalty to Miesha, which, like, I feel like Miesha would question him if he didn't do that. But also, like, again, Miesha is very much wrong here, and I think he should have just called her out, but that's not what happens. So Shanna asks him about the pitch, and she feels that Mirai will pick one of them if she gets house guest choice, and that his only other option as a pawn would be Lamar or Todrick. But Shanna brings up putting up Todrick. She's at this point like, maybe we should just backdoor him. And this is what disappointed me about this episode, is that it's only an hour long, so we're not really able to see like what went down to from doing that. But it did seem like at this point, like maybe Todrick is going to go up. Maybe we're going to get that Todrick backdoor. And my God, imagine if that happened here. Like, it would have been so good if Todrick ends up going on the block, but that's not at all, unfortunately, what ends up happening here. Other thing I will say is that we didn't get to see who picked who in the veto. It was just like a random draw. Yeah. And they spent a lot of time like focusing on the fact that like Mirai is going to get house guest choice and like pick one of them. So I assume she picked Todrick, but we don't know for a fact that she did because we didn't see it. But anyway, talk about the veto.
All right. Julie teases that this veto will be themed around the upcoming movie Marry Me, which I'm very excited for.
Yeah, but do we really need to see like a fucking TV spot for it? No, we didn't need to see that. That was,
I mean, there's a lot of promo.
I mean, sure, but like we only have 40 minutes. Like, move it along. There's no reason to show like a TV spot.
Todrick, Shanna, and Cynthia also compete in the veto along with Mirai, Kattan, and Chris. This comp is a series of images showing a large crowd of fans where many are holding up signs, but only one is holding a sign saying "Marry Me." They have to correctly identify who is holding up the sign. I'm not going to say it was bad. I just thought it was a little too easy.
Oh, I thought it was really stupid because, like, it's so easily identifiable. Like, the way to make this work is to put the Marry Me sign in a different place every single time. And, like, it was so easy to make out. Like, I get that they moved it around a couple times, but, like, I just don't think this comp was, like, that well done. I feel like the Marry Me sign needed to shrink in sizes and things like that, and it never did. It was, like, very easy.
I feel like you and I could definitely win that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is probably like one of the easiest comps I've seen in like Big Brother. So yeah, I was not a fan of this at all.
Yeah. And what is a pretty close comp, unless your name is Kirkpatrick.
Yeah, because he literally threw it.
I think he got like one right.
No, yeah, I was surprised he even got one right. I thought he was just gonna like throw the whole thing. I was like, oh, he's trying now, I guess.
That was so funny.
Yeah.
Shayna does end up winning the veto, but she then decides not to use it, meaning Mirai or Kattan will be the next person evicted.
And I want to ask you, like, what did you? I want to ask you, like, what did you think of this move? Because I know there was like a lot of people that were like, annoyed that she didn't just go for the throat and take one of them down so he would put up Todrick. But what did you think?
I mean, obviously it sucks because I wanted Mirai to be safe. But I wanted that backdoor to happen, but I mean, I get it just because she doesn't want to show her cards this early. So she just wanted to kind of keep it that way for now.
Yeah, I think it was definitely that, but then I also think it's based on the fact that I don't think she believed that Chip Skylark was gonna stick to the plan. I think that's another reason why she did. She didn't have enough faith that he actually was gonna put up Todrick, and for all she knows, he could put up say Carson or Cynthia, which is not good for her at all. So I think in hindsight, I think this is a good move for her.
I also feel like she wants to be the one to take out Miesha or Todrick.
I think so too. And but I also think she wants to do it when she knows that the person who makes the decision is confident, because she doesn't necessarily need to win the HOH. I think she just needs if Carson or Cynthia does it, I think that's when we'll get it. But yeah, I don't think this was a bad move for Shanna. It was boring, yes, but not a bad move.
Yeah, for sure. In his speech, Kattan essentially asks to be voted out and that Mirai has earned her spot in the house.
So at this point, I'm thinking oh, it's going to be a Keisha. It's going to be a meta world peace where we're just going to have a non-eviction and it's just essentially going to be a quit. That's what I thought was going to happen here.
I know. Mirai talks about how grateful she is for this experience and that she has done her best even with people who are older than her, and talks about how inspiring the cookout was and hopes she can continue to pave that way.
We do love people shouting out the cookout. We very much do love that a lot.
We love that.
This was a great speech, all around. I think she did a really good job when it came to this speech. But I was still convinced at this point that Kattan's going. He literally asked to be voted out. But let's talk about what happens instead.
All right. Despite being asked to leave, the house guests mysteriously ignore. Despite being asked to leave the house guests mysteriously ignore this request. Yeah. The house guests mysteriously ignore this request, and by a unanimous vote, Mirai is the next celebrity evicted. And I do not like that.
Unanimous votes. I want us to process that. Chris Kattan asked to leave the game.
I do not like unanimous votes.
Well, I understand it's unanimous vote if someone wants to leave, but I don't understand. I don't understand how this happened. Legitimately, I don't know why they decided to do this, because how is Chris Kattan beneficial for their game at this point? He wants to leave the game. He's not strategizing. He's literally said he doesn't care about the strategy. He said Mirai deserves to be there more than him. In what way is Chris Kattan beneficial for your game? There's no reason that they shouldn't have voted him out here. I just didn't understand this. Legitimately, this was not the move in any way. Not the move. Again, I understand why certain people like Shanna needed Mirai out, but this was still not the move. If someone's asking to be voted out, it's a courtesy vote. Generally, it's a courtesy vote. I've been there before. And when someone wants to be voted out and you don't vote them out, then your girlfriend ends up leaving. So yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. Just if someone has to be voted out, just vote them out. It's that simple. It's not science.
Mirai definitely deserved better.
I think she deserved a different cast generally. I think that's what really hurt her overall.
Oh yeah. Mirai talks about how she has never found herself to be the only Asian American in the room, so she really struggled. Julie tries to relate to her, but focuses more on the fact that she is older and asks about her friendship with Kattan, who Mirai feels good with, and she feels she wasn't mentally prepared for this.
This was like a really bad interview, like all around. Julie did not ask her good questions here. Mirai was like really trying to like speak about like her personal feelings, and Julie tried to like, I get what she was doing. Like she was trying to relate to her, but like it's not in any way similar to what Mirai was talking about. Mirai was talking about two different things. Yes, she was talking about being the only Asian in the cast, which that's definitely something I think Big Brother should look into, because statistically, like Asian players, from what I've heard, are like very low. And they need to like look into that and like maybe, get at least 2 or 3 more, and like diversify the house a little bit more. So there was that. And yeah, it sucks that like Mirai was like the only Asian and she wasn't really able to talk to anyone about like those specific struggles. Like, yeah, she had conversations with like Lamar about race and things like that, but things that like Asians specifically have gone through, Lamar can't relate to. So like she doesn't have that person that she can like really rely on to like talk about those struggles with. And you can see why that was like really a challenge for her. But then there's also the fact that she was literally the only young person in the house. And like, yes, she's in her late 20s. She's not really in her early 20s. But when you're surrounded by like mostly 40-year-olds or almost 40-year-olds, like there's definitely a conflict of interest there. And I think that's what really hurts Mirai in the game, is that she just wasn't able to connect with many people. The only reason Kattan really connected with her was because he felt for her, and that they were kind of in like, I think he kind of became this kindred spirit because he's not really playing the game much. So like he feels for her, he likes her in the game, he wants her to go farther. Other than that, she never really was able to make a solid connection. And I would really just chalk it up to the fact that I just don't think that a lot of these house guests were able to relate to her. They're all a lot older. They've all gone through different struggles in their lives. And I touched upon this a little bit more in like the last podcast, but I think that's what really did hurt Mirai overall. I know preseason people talked about it and I shut it down. I said, no, Mirai's going to be able to overcome this. But I really do think it hurt her here because she just was never able to find like that one person that she can vibe with, that understands her, that like she can form this really close connection with. She didn't really have that in this game. And I really do hope that at some point she gets a second chance, because I definitely saw a lot of potential in her. This is a girl that wants to fight hard. This is a girl that really does want to play. I think she just didn't really have it in her after a while, just because she realized like there just wasn't much that she could have done to like really fix her spot here. Like, yeah, she came pretty close in comps and things like that, but I think at the end of the day, the fact that there weren't many people in the game that looked like her, and also the fact that she herself is like the youngest cast member, I think those two things really did hurt her in the end. Neither of which are in her control, may I add. Like, neither of which are things that are her fault. Those are both things that very much should have been worked out. I think they should have at least had one other member that was slightly younger. I think that would have definitely increased Mirai's chances, and I think it just would have made the game a little bit more fluid. But unfortunately, Mirai was just never able to get that solid footing, and I think that's what really did hurt her.
Oh, yeah. She was, like, my favorite in the house. Well, her and Cynthia.
Yeah.
And this cast was just not the right cast for her. I mean, at first I wanted her to, like, work with Cynthia and Shanna and all of them. But, I mean, I do love her friendship with Chris Kattan. That was just really sweet and wholesome.
Oh, yeah. I enjoyed that a lot.
And obviously, I wanted her to work with Carson, too. But sadly, that didn't work out. But maybe they'll bring her back for, like, Celebrity Big Brother Redemption or something.
Second chances, yeah. Get Keisha in there. Get Meta World Peace in there. Get Shannon Elizabeth in there. Who would they get from 2? Like, get Jonathan Bennett in there. Like, get Kato Kalin, like get all these people for second chances. It would be a great cast. A small cast because we've only had 3 seasons and there weren't that many people, but good cast for sure.
I feel like they probably wouldn't do a redemption until after a few more seasons.
Yeah, they're definitely gonna. I think they'll probably be a Celebrity Big Brother 4 because this is like the best ratings they've ever had. So I feel like they'll definitely do another season, but we'll have to see.
For sure. Like CBB always has a lot of viewers, but like overall, I mean, I'm proud of Mirai. She still fought hard. she just deserved better. But
yeah, I just wish she was able to show more of her potential, and unfortunately, she wasn't able to because they didn't really give her much of a chance.
Yeah,
so
they didn't know. Like she just
yeah.
And also they needed a skating comp.
Yeah, that too. They were in desperate need of that skating comp. She would have fucking wiped the floor quite literally. With
the slip and slide one.
Yeah, next to all of them. But yeah, moving forward, I mean, there's really, to be honest with you, like there's really only 3 people left that like I'm legitimately like really rooting hard for. Everyone else, it's kind of just like they'll go when they go. Like that's kind of where I'm at. Like I like watching Lamar, but I'm not really rooting for Lamar. Like he's fun to watch, but he's not really doing much like strategic wise.
I am rooting for him, but I'm definitely rooting for Cynthia, Carson, and Shanna.
Yeah, that's the thing. And not in the way I'm rooting for like Cynthia, Carson, and Shanna. Like those are really the 3 that I'm rooting the most for. Everyone else, I either can't stand. Miesha, I don't think they're playing very good. Like say Todrick, for example. I don't think Todrick's playing well. I don't think then you have people like Todd and Kattan and Lamar who really are just not playing the game in any way. And I think that's definitely, as well, especially Kattan. Like at least Lamar and Todd are talking game with people. Kattan hasn't talked a second of game with anyone, and I just think that's going to hurt him in the end. Chip Skylark is mostly boring to me. I'm not a big fan of him. So overall, I do think this is a good cast. I'm just really worried that like we're going to lose a lot of the entertaining people like early on, and this is going to get boring. But I hope it's not. It's not boring yet. This was unfortunately just a very predictable week, and I hope moving forward we're able to have like a little bit more excitement because I like that. I like excitement in Celebrity Big Brother, and I hope we're able to get it in this season. But we'll really just have to see how it does play out moving forward. How are you feeling about the remainder of the cast?
I mean, I don't dislike any of them. Like personally, I don't. But
No.
I do not like Miesha's gameplay at all. Todrick's is all right, but I'm not a big fan of his gameplay either.
No.
Kattan is just Kattan. Lamar is just Lamar. Like he's in a good like position, but he's definitely just kind of like funny and stuff. But I do like him. Obviously, rooting for Cynthia, Carson, and Shanna, and like Kirkpatrick is all right and such. And like, I don't dislike anyone, but
no.
I'm like indifferent on the cast.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at too. Like aside from those 3 who I really like a lot, and also Lamar and Kattan like really entertain me. Overall, I'm kind of just lukewarm on this cast right now. We'll really just have to see how it does go moving forward. But either way, that's it for our review of this week of Celebrity Big Brother 3. We're going to try to be more consistent now that we're caught up. Hopefully we're able to watch Thursday's episode live. Hopefully we'll have to see how
I'll see if I'm spending the night with Emily on Wednesday.
There's no episode on Wednesday.
Huh? I thought you said it was.
Oh yeah, I'm dumb. There's an episode tonight. I thought there was an episode on Thursday.
If I am spending the night with her, I'll be home on Thursday morning, so we can just watch it then.
Okay, and then Friday's 2 hours.
I mean, but if I'm not spending the night, then we can just watch it when I'm home.
Actually, let me take a look at this review schedule at this schedule for the episodes because I want to make sure there's not like a random Saturday episode this week. Okay, let's see. Wednesday, Friday. Okay, yeah. Okay. The Saturday episode is not yet. The Saturday episode's next week. But yeah, next week's weird. Like it's on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. It's crazy. But anyway, that's it. Yeah, it's on as much as I'm working. Like anyway, that's it for our review of this week of Celebrity Big Brother 3. As always, we comment down below, let us know your guys' thoughts on this season, how you liked how everything's playing out and whatnot. That's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We will see you guys in our next video, hopefully with a guest. We will probably have a guest on at some point. We're not sure who yet, but we will try to get who we can. We will see you guys for that.
It sounds like you said, like when you say guest on, it sounds like Gaston.
A Gaston. Yeah, that's who we're gonna get. But anyway, that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We will see you guys in our next video, and we will see you guys for that.